Live from Trafalgar, Indiana, this is the Corduroy Connect with your hosts, Julia Hamblin and Evan Koblitz.
Hello, I'm Julia Hamblin, and welcome to our viewers throughout Indiana FFA.
And I'm Evan Koblitz. Thank you for joining us. This is Corduroy Connect, where we are sharing the stories that are shaping our future.
In this month's edition, we'll be recapping our FIRE conference, discussing district leadership conventions, providing updates on state-level proficiencies, bottle cap collection, and upcoming events, and sharing stories from FFA alumni.
We'll be right back after this short commercial break.
Welcome back to the Corduroy Connect, your one-stop shop for all things in the FFA. I'm your salesman, Lauren Matlock, and I'm here to tell you how you can sponsor the Corduroy Connect.
Hi, my name is Kylie Shackle.
How are you doing, Kylie?
I'm good. Hey, can you help me?
Of course I can help you.
Okay, well, my friend and I want to advertise an FFA event. Do you know where to start?
Of course I know where to start, right here in the handshake. I'll tell you all the steps you need to know. For a low price of $100, you can sponsor our podcast and have your chapter's name mentioned in our monthly episodes.
Well, what else do you have?
Well, if you don't want to shout out your chapter and you just want to have your chapter mentioned at the beginning of the episode, I'll tell you what, I got the model for you. You can become a general sponsor of the Corduroy Connect and sponsor $100 for anything. For $100, that deal's a steal.
Wow. Well, I don't know if that's going to do it. What else do you have?
I'll tell you what, the best I can do, the cherry on top, the greatest deal I can give you right now is for $200. I can highlight any of your accomplishments, achievements of your chapter on any of our video episodes that we have.
Okay, for how long?
A minute! A whole minute! 60 seconds! 30 seconds times 2! The whole time for a minute!
Oh my, that's it! I'll take it!
Sounds like I can serve ourselves a deal here.
Yep.
Another fine day at Corduroy Connect.
Now for today's stories from across the state. Indiana FFA held its Foundations in Reaching Excellence FIRE conference the weekend of February 19th through the 21st. During FIRE, the state officers provided sessions on life after high school, advocating for agriculture, and personal vision statements. We were able to host over 100 students for a fun-filled weekend of making new friends, learning new skills, and creating lifelong memories. To catch up on FIRE, be sure to check out all the exciting photos on our social media.
District leadership conventions are in full swing. All across the state, members are perfecting their skills in public speaking, essay writing, interviewing, and more for their respective leadership development events. Congratulations to all of the members who have already competed, and best of luck to the competitors from Districts 2 and 5 in their upcoming contests.
Members across the state are showcasing their accomplishments in their SAEs through their proficiency applications. The first round of state-level grading happened on March 22nd, and round 2 will happen on April 27th. Good luck to everyone competing in a state proficiency.
Do you know a supporter of Indiana FFA that deserves some recognition for their hard work and dedication to the organization? Nominations for honorary degrees, distinguished service, and VIP awards are due April 9th. Chapters can also submit bylaw amendments and standing rule changes by April 9th. You can find more information on the Indiana FFA website.
We want to thank all the chapters that donated bottle caps for the Rob Hayes Memorial Bench Project. We collected thousands of pounds of bottle caps and are in the final phase of completing this project. Tune into our social media for further updates.
Do you think you have the best chapter in the state? How about in the nation? Applications for the National Chapter and Living to Serve Awards are due by April 23rd. Chapters have proven that a pandemic can't stop them from accomplishing great things. So show us all your chapter is done by applying for the National Chapter Awards today.
This concludes our news from across the state. We will now move on to our featured story.
Every FFA member has a story, and every member moves on to do something different. Our alumni are accomplishing amazing things every day. So let's highlight some of our Indiana FFA alumni. Our first alumni highlight is Mrs. Kay Huntsman. We're starting off with our first alumni highlight. We have Mrs. Kay Huntsman, who is the Shelbyville FFA advisor.
So Mrs. Huntsman, let's start out with telling us a little bit about yourself and what you did in your time in FFA.
So yeah, I'm Mrs. Huntsman. I started the ag program at Shelbyville 4 years ago. It's been really exciting. We went from a single teacher to a two teacher dual program. We've had a lot of growth in the school. I have 3 beautiful children and a wonderful husband, and I enjoy spending my free time with them and my FFA kids because that's all the free time you get, you know. In FFA, so I actually went to Heritage Christian for 2 years. So I only got 2 years in FFA when I switched to Eastern Hancock. And I had 3 of the best advisors, Natalie Schilling, Scott Jacobs, as well as Sarah Williams. And I was able to do forestry. It was one of our big things that I really enjoy doing. And I got to sit in a lot of different meetings and do a lot of the chapter events. And it kind of got my whistle wet. And I was like, this is really cool. Like, I really enjoy this. And it was Mr. Jacobs, like, you should pursue this. And that's how I ended up here.
Awesome. So you kind of talked a little bit about what you're doing now. You're the advisor at Shelbyville. So we'll just go ahead and jump a question and say, how did FFA help get you where you are today?
Oh, it changed my life. So FFA, it was one of those things that when I had switched schools my junior year, you know, you've gotten so used to, you know, your friends and your routine. And I went to Eastern and I didn't really know anybody and I was so nervous. And the first group of people were the people in the ag community. I mean, it was just, hey, do you want to do this? Do you want to participate in this activity? We've got this club. And it was just like, I became a family with them immediately. And if it wouldn't have been for my advisors, I wouldn't have pursued a career in ag. I wouldn't have had that, you know, feeling of like, you know, you could sit at the lunchroom or you can go sit in the ag room for lunch. And it just, that was a safe house. And that became my home.
Awesome. And I'm going to kind of ad-lib a question in here because you know, I was a part of that first group of kids that were in the brand new chapter. And so from an advisor's perspective, what was that like? What were some of the challenges, but also the pushes to start that chapter from scratch?
Well, the really cool part about starting a chapter from scratch is that there's nothing to compare it to. So everything is growth. So that's a big positive. But one of the driving forces was, you know, the kids wanted to know everything, you being one of them. I definitely said, you know, my students are what made me a better teacher and a better coach. And literally every week, I'm learning new things from students that ask random questions. And I'm like, oh, I don't know. But it's really the students that, you know, that drove me to do different contests. I had never coached a majority of any of these or participated in them. And now I get the opportunity to learn how to do them better, and I get to see my students succeed.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Mrs. Huntsman, for joining us today. We appreciate you sharing your story with us. We hope you have a great rest of the school year.
Yeah.
Thank you. You too. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Our second alumni highlight is Abigail Powell.
Thanks for joining us today, Abigail.
Yes, thanks for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, we'll just jump right into this first question. So tell us a little bit about yourself and your background and what you did during your time in FFA.
Absolutely. So currently I'm a sophomore at Purdue University. I'm double majoring in agriculture business marketing and then also in ag communications. And I grew up, I actually owe a lot of credit to my grandparents for getting me involved in agriculture. They live on a cattle farm and I lived in town, but had the opportunity to reach agriculture through them. And then my time in FFA, I served in 3 officer positions for my chapter, which is Triton FFA. I had the advisor of Miss Lynn Fisher, which she's now Mrs. Schrock. And I served as Sentinel, Vice President, and President. And then during my senior year, I served as District 2 President, and I served on the Indiana Executive Committee.
Awesome. And Abigail, you kind of answered my next question in a portion with what you're doing now. So you're at, you say Purdue
Yes,
with marketing and ag communications. Is that correct? Yeah.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Yep.
So what's your plans then? What does your future look like with these degrees?
Absolutely. So I was able to come into college with quite a few dual credits from high school. So it's been pretty easy for me to be able to graduate with 2 different degrees. And they kind of overlap nicely. I have the business marketing side and the communication side. Being only a sophomore, I'm not totally positive exactly what my career pathway will be, but I'm taking all the steps that I can to make sure that I can figure that out as soon as possible. This summer, I'll be interning downtown Indianapolis with Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance, and I'll be doing sales for them. So that will just kind of let me see if that's something I'm interested in. And then I'm also really interested in a lot of the misconceptions surrounding agriculture and debunking those. So I could see that tying into my future somehow.
Very, very cool, especially about that last part with debunking those myths of agriculture.
Yeah.
That's something that I think is one of the biggest threats to American agriculture today. So talking about those steps in your future career, you're a little unsure about what that's
Yeah.
going to look like, but how did FFA help shape where you are today and help shape where you're going in the future?
I absolutely owe a lot of credit to the time I spent in the Blue Jacket. I honestly don't think I would be at Purdue majoring in what I am if I wouldn't have spent that time in that Blue Jacket. And I was able to come into Purdue feeling comfortable with a lot of connections that came from FFA. And I was comfortable right away, which has helped me just be able to put my roots down and figure out how exactly I'm going to grow here and in the next few steps of my career. But I mean, the career development, the professionalism that I learned from FFA is unmatched. And it's been pretty eye-opening to see the kids here who didn't go through those experiences versus the ones who did. And as sad as it is, I wish everyone had the opportunity to be a part of it, but really those who have stand out and they understand what it's like to be in those professional standpoints.
Yeah, I have to just echo everything that you said there, because I 10 out of 10 agree with all that you just said there.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's been amazing.
Well, thank you so much,
Yeah.
Abigail, for taking time out of your day to come and talk to us. I really appreciate it, and we wish you the best of luck in your future endeavors.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Yeah. And our final alumni highlight is Mr. Drake Babcock.
Thank you, Drake, for joining us here on the Corduroy Connect. We're really excited to have you.
Hey, thanks for having me. Yeah.
So I want to start with a super basic question. Tell us a little bit about yourself and some of the things that you did during your time in FFA.
Okay. Well, I am currently a assistant vice president of lending at the Kentland Bank. I've been here for almost 4 years. So just jumping in and really kind of learning what happens in the banking world. As some people may know, I was a teacher prior to this. So it was new, but it's great still being able to educate people. That's still always a passion, regardless of where I'm at, is helping people learn. In FFA, I was involved with a lot of things. Did a lot of leadership contests, their career development events to be proper. Competed nationally in marketing and agricultural issues. Had diversified livestock proficiency area. Just tried to stay involved in the chapter locally on the district and state level as much as I could.
So you talked a little bit about how you used to be a teacher, but now you're into the lending side of things with the bank, but you talked that you still like that education aspect. So what are some ways that you use that ag education background that you have in your current position?
Yeah, so I when I graduated from Purdue, I graduated with agricultural education and an ag economics degree both. So I was dual degreed. But on a daily basis, it's wonderful. Still educating. So in my position, if I can look at a customer's financials and say, here's what I'm thinking, and here's why it makes sense, or here's why it may not make sense for us as the bank or for you as the consumer. The same thing goes for vehicle loans, or if you're purchasing your first home or whatever that may be, kind of educating on the rules, the regulations, and then why it makes sense for you and why it makes sense for us too.
Very awesome. And you really talked about a lot of the things that you did in FFA. You were very active and very successful in the organization. So how did what you were involved in the FFA, whether it be an office position or a contest or an event, how did those help you into the accomplishments that you have and who you are today?
Well, that's a really, really deep question, Julia. But for the most part, to be really honest, being able to just have genuine conversations. I'm one that I can appreciate just a genuine conversation with anyone. Anyone that knows me well knows that I can probably sit and talk to you for a few hours and I won't get tired. But that's having that ability to network and understand people and how maybe someday we could benefit each other somehow. Wherever your career path leads you or where I am in mine, if there's a way that our networks can come together and benefit each other, that's a huge takeaway for me, as far as my FFA experience goes. I think back to my state FFA officer year, and that was a huge key takeaway for me. Was the network that I gained of people, just the people that I knew from that experience. Something I'll never forget too.
Yeah, I think that's a really important thing to talk about. Oftentimes in FFA, we really try to stress that we've got those career development events and we're going to help people develop those hard skills that they need for careers. But those 21st century soft skills and building a network and learning how to communicate are some of those invaluable skills that you're going to be hard pressed to find in any other organization.
Very true. Very true.
Thanks for sitting down with us today and taking some time out of our day to give us a little update on where you are. It's always great to see where our alumni have been and where they're going in the future. So thanks again for taking that time to sit down and talk with us today, Drake.
Hey, no problem. Thanks you guys for having me.
That has been the featured story. We thoroughly enjoyed getting to sit down and talk with these alumni. We'll be right back after this short commercial break.
Here's a story of a girl named Julia who was wanting to serve in FFA. Kylie also had these goals, so did Blake, and even Lauren too. It's the story of a boy named Evan who was busy prepping for the rounds. Derek studied hard, Luke practiced interviews, and they all mastered Zoom. Till the one day when the nom-com met these fellows, and they knew that it was much more than a hunch, that this group must somehow live their dreams. That's the way we all became the SO team, the SO team, the SO team. That's the way we became the SO team.
This has been your monthly edition of Corduroy Connect. Once again, I'm Evan Kovalance.
And I'm Julia Hamblin. Until next time, Indiana FFA, stay golden.